Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, March 9th, 2020. Big show today. College basketball, NBA, NHL from the weekend. Look ahead to tonight's slate in each sports. My mock bracket, finally. NASCAR, go over the weekend's race. Go over the Arnold Palmer Invitational in golf. Recap last night's episode of Idol. And my best bets for the night. All right, college basketball. I'm going to try to be very quick here. Saturday was busy. Friday and Sunday weren't as busy. Tonight's kind of low. It's just the start of some conference tournaments and the end of some conference tournaments as well. So Friday night, couple regular season finales, along with some tournaments. Drake upsets Northern Iowa 77-56 in the MVC quarterfinal. Bradley upsets, or doesn't upset, Southern Illinois 64-59 in the MVC quarterfinal. VMI over Samford 96-78 in the SoCon first round. Winthrop over Gardner-Webb 78-66 in the Big South semifinal. Buffalo over Bowling Green 88-84. Akron over Kent State 79-76. Toledo over Eastern Michigan 79-57. Central Michigan over Western Michigan 85-68. Georgia Tech over Clemson 65-62. Wake loses at NC State 84-64. Richmond over Duquesne 73-62. Canisius over Niagara 67-63. Fairfield over Manhattan 66-50. St. Pete's over Iona 68-65. Siena over Monmouth 86-72. Brown over Harvard 64-55. Princeton over Columbia 81-58. Penn over Cornell 78-64. Yale over Dartmouth 72-61. Valpo over Loyola Chicago, that was an upset, 74-73 in overtime of the MVC quarterfinal. Ohio over Miami of Ohio, 67-65. SoCon first round, Wofford over the Citadel, 93-76. OVC semifinal, Belmont over Eastern Kentucky, 60-50. Hampton upsets Radford, 86-78 in the Big South semifinal. Ball State over Northern Illinois, 75-54. San Diego State over Boise State, 81-68 in the MVC or MWC semifinal. Davidson over VCU, 75-65. San Francisco over Loyola Marymount, 82-53 in the West Coast second round. Loyola fired its coach. Missouri State over Indiana State, 78-51 the MVC quarterfinal. Missouri State over Austin Peay, 73-61 the OVC semifinal. Pepperdine over Santa Clara, 84-73 in the WCC second round. And Utah State over Wyoming, 89-82 in the WC semifinal. Saturday was busy. Number 14 Villanova over Georgetown 70-69. Number 17 Auburn over Tennessee 85-63. Number 24 Wisconsin over Indiana 60-56. St. John's over Marquette 88-86. St. Francis Pennsylvania over Sacred Heart 84-72 in the NEC semifinal. Louisiana over Arkansas State 73-66 in the Sun Belt first round. East Tennessee State over VMI 70-57 in the SoCon quarterfinal. Vandy over South Carolina, 83-74. West Virginia over number 4 Baylor, 76-64. Number 6 Kentucky over Florida, 71-70. UMBC over New Hampshire, 73-67 in the AEC quarterfinal. Number 1 Kansas over Texas Tech, 66-62. UTEP over Rice, 77-72. Notre Dame over Virginia Tech, 64-56. George Mason over Fordham, 65-61. LaSalle over St. Joe's, 78-77. LSU over Georgia, 94-64. Rutgers over Purdue, 71-68 in overtime. Robert Morris over Long Island, 86-66 in the NEC semifinal. Number 11 Creighton over number 8 Seton Hall, 77-60. Western Carolina over Mercer, 70-56 in the SoCon quarterfinal. Utah over Colorado, 74-72 in overtime. Mizzou over Alabama, 69-50. Coastal Carolina over UT Arlington, 63-62, Sun Belt first round. USC over UCLA, 54-52. Bradley over Drake, 76-66 in the MVC semifinal. Number 22 Virginia over number 10 Louisville, 57-54. Northwestern over number 20 Penn State, 80-69. Marshall over UTSA, 82-77. Northwestern State over Central Arkansas, 185. Drexel over UNC Wilmington, 66-55 in the CAA first round. Miami over Syracuse, 69-65 in overtime. Oklahoma State over Texas, 81-59. Kansas State over Iowa State, 79-63. Number 7 Florida State over BC, 80-62. A&M over Arkansas, 77-69. A&M Corpus Christi over Houston Baptist, 84-78. Oregon State over Cal, 74-56. Idaho over Idaho State, 80-76. Hartford over UMass Lowell, 89-75 in the AEC quarterfinal. Eastern Washington over Weber State, 78-69. Abilene Christian over Incarnate Word, 71-68 in overtime. Utah State over number 5 San Diego State 59-56 in the MWC final. Utah State gets the auto big. San Diego State will get an at-large. McNeese over Lamar 76-6. Stephen F. Austin over Sam Houston State 68-57. Number 12 Duke over North Carolina 89-76. Middle Tennessee over Southern Miss 65-62 in overtime. Penn over Columbia 85-65. Cornell over Princeton 85-82. Grambling over Alabama State 70-58. Wofford over Furman 77-16 in the SoCon quarterfinal. Northern Colorado over Montana State 75-61. Oklahoma over TCU 78-76. Valpo over Missouri State 89-82 in the MVC semifinal. Southern over Prairie View 89-80 in overtime. Providence over DePaul 93-55. Mississippi State over Ole Miss 69-44. Alon over James Madison 63-61 the CAA first round. Alcorn State over Texas Southern 90-75. Arizona State over Washington State 83-74. Number 3 Dayton over George Washington 76-51. Brown over Dartmouth 70-58. Harvard over Yale 83-69. New Orleans over Southeast Louisiana 79-69. Jackson State over Bama A&M 54-51. USF over SMU 61-60. Rhode Island over UMass 64-63. La Tech over Charlotte 66-43. Western Kentucky over FIU 91-85. North Dakota State over Denver 70-69 in the Summit League quarterfinal. Vermont over Maine 61-50 in the AEC quarterfinal. Stony Brook over Albany 76-73 in the AEC quarterfinal. UAB over Old Dominion 72-63. St. Louis over St. Bonnie 72-49. Cincinnati over Temple 64-63. Texas Rio Grande over Cal Baptist 79-76 in overtime. Grand Canyon over CSU Bakersfield 64-61. Belmont over Murray State 76-75 in the OVC title game. So Belmont gets the auto bid there. Mississippi Valley State over Arkansas Pine Bluff 74-71. Chattanooga upsets UNC Greensboro 78-16 in the SoCon quarterfinal. Butler over Xavier 72-71. Southern Utah over Montana 85-80 in overtime. Purdue Fort Wayne over South Dakota State 77-74 in the Summit League quarterfinal. San Francisco over Pacific 72-54 in the WCC quarterfinal. Washington over Arizona 69-63. Cal State Northridge over Hawaii 86-82. UC Riverside over UC Davis 66-61. UC Santa Barbara over Cal Poly 69-67. Portland State over Sacramento State 76-72. Cal State Fullerton over Long Beach State 75-69. Number 13 Oregon over Stanford 80-67. St. Mary's over Pepperdine 89-82 in double overtime in the WCC quarterfinal. And Chicago State Utah Valley and UMKC Seattle were both canceled due to the outbreak of the coronavirus. Sunday. Number 9 Maryland over number 25 Michigan 83-70. Number 21 Houston over Memphis 64-57. Hofstra over Drexel 61-43 in the CAA quarterfinal. BU over Bucknell 64-61 in the Patriot League semifinal. Winthrop over Hampton 76-68 in the Big South final. Minnesota over Nebraska 107-75. UCF over East Carolina 94-62. Colgate over Lafayette 89-64 in the Patriot League semifinal. Bradley over Valpo 80-66 in the MVC final as Bradley gets to the auto bid in that league. Delaware over Charleston 79-67 in the CAA quarterfinal. Liberty over Lipscomb 73-57 in the ASUN finals. Liberty gets that auto bid. UConn over Tulane 80-76. Wichita State over Tulsa 79-57. East Tennessee State over Western Carolina 95-75 in the SoCon semifinal. Number 16 Michigan State over number 19 Ohio State 80-69. Alon over William & Mary 68-63 in the CAA quarterfinal. Wofford over Chattanooga 72-70 in the SoCon semifinal. Number 23 Illinois over number 18 Iowa 78-76. Oral Roberts over Omaha 79-52 in the Summit League quarterfinal. Northeastern upsets Towson 72-62 in the CAA quarterfinal. Well, that wasn't really an upset. Northeastern was favored. And North Dakota over South Dakota 74-71 in the Summit League quarterfinal. And that was an upset because North Dakota were getting 5.5. Tonight, small slate of conference tournament games. 6 o'clock, CBS Sports Network. Delaware Hofstra, CAA semifinal. Hofstra's only a 3-point favorite. Meanwhile, I have them as a 4-point favorite. So, I'm surprised that this line is lower than what I have it. So, I think Hofstra -3 is here is a little bit of a steal, even though my line is pretty close. SoCon final, Wofford, East Tennessee State, 7 o'clock ESPN. East Tennessee State's giving 7.5. I have an East Tennessee State by 13.5, so I'm going to lay the 7.5. I have a 6-point difference. ESPN Plus Summit League semifinal, Oral Roberts, North Dakota State. North Dakota State's a 2-point favorite. I have it by 7, so I'm going to lay the 2 with North Dakota State. Coastal Carolina, Appalachian State. App State's a 3.5-point favorite. They're favored by 7. I'm going to lay the 3.5 at App State. Louisiana, Georgia Southern, Sunbelt, second round. Georgia Southern's favored by 8.5. I have at 9.5, so small difference. I'm going to lay the 8.5 with Georgia Southern. UIC, Wright State, 7 o'clock ESPNU. Wright State's a 6-point favorite. I have Wright State by 9.5, so I'm going to lay the 6 with Wright State, so I'm on most of the favorites so far. Eastern Michigan, Kent State, 7 o'clock ESPN Plus. Kent State's a 7.5-point favorite. That's what I have it at gunpoint. What side do you go with? Oh, that's very tough. I'm going to say Kent State, but I don't feel super about it. ESPN Plus, Western Michigan, Toledo. Toledo's a 10-point favorite. I have it 6.5, so this is the first dog I'm taking. So give me Western Michigan getting 10 on the road at Toledo. Yeah, that is the first dog I'm on because everybody else is favored. So it's my first dog of the night. Central Michigan, Ohio, 7 o'clock ESPN Plus. Ohio's a 5-point favorite. I have it at 5. Great. So gunpoint, who do I take? The cover, probably Central Michigan, but I don't feel super about it. 7:30 ESPN Plus, Miami of Ohio, Buffalo. Buffalo's a 9-point favorite. They have it 12. I'm going to lay the 9 with Buffalo. I just think they're way better than Miami of Ohio. 8:30 CBS Sports Network, Alon, Northeastern. Northeastern's a 9-point favorite. I have it Northeastern by 4, so I'm going to take Alon getting 9. Although Northeastern's the better team, but I think that line is way too big, and they're making them big favorites because of their reputation of winning that tournament last year and that Bill Cohn's a good coach. I mean, it's all true, but Northeastern still went 16-15 this season. I mean, they could win the auto bid. We'll see. I think they were like the second choice on there, the second favorite for Vegas, so they're high on them. They must have gotten somebody back from injury that's significant. That's why they're getting so much credit. So, give me Alon plus the 9 because I have a 5-point difference here. 9 o'clock ESPN San Francisco against number 2 Gonzaga. Gonzaga's a 13-point favorite. I have a 10. I'm going to take the 13 with San Francisco, who played them close not that long ago in their home building. I do think Gonzaga will win, but it will be less by 13. 9:30 ESPN Plus Summer League semifinal. Purdue, Fort Wayne, North Dakota. North Dakota's giving 2.5. I have it 1.5, so I'm going to take Purdue, Fort Wayne, and the 2.5. Green Bay, Northern Kentucky. Horizon League semifinal. Northern Kentucky's laying 5. And I have it 4.5. So I'm going to take Green Bay getting the 5. Best game of the night, in my opinion, 11:30 ESPN2, St. Mary's against number 14 BYU. BYU is a 14-point favorite. I have BYU by 1.5, so I'm going to take St. Mary's getting the 4 points in what should be an absolute awesome game. Now we'll do NBA, look back on the weekend's games, and look ahead to a short slate tonight. So Friday night, Wizards over the Hawks 118-112. Nets over the Spurs 139-120. Jazz over the Celtics 99-94. Thunder over the Knicks 126-103. Pacers over the Bulls 108-102. Magic over the Timberwolves 132-118. Pelicans over the Heat 110-104. Mavs over the Grizzlies 96. Suns over the Blazers 127-117. And the Lakers over the Bucks 113-103. Saturday, Hornets over the Rockets 108-99. Jazz over the Pistons 111-105. Cavs over the Nuggets 102-104. Grizz over the Hawks 118-101. Warriors over the Sixers 118-114. And the Kings over the Blazers 123-111. Sunday, Nets over the Bulls 110-107. Pelicans over the Timberwolves 120-107. Lakers over the Clippers 112-103. Thunder over the Celtics 105-104. Suns over the Bucks 140-131. Heat over the Wizards 189. Knicks over the Pistons 96-84. Pacers over the Mavs 112-109. Magic over the Rockets 126-106. Cavs over the Spurs 132-129 in overtime. Raptors over the Kings 118-113. A short slate tonight, 7:30. Hornets, Hawks. Atlanta's giving 4.5. I'd make it by 1. Bucks, Nuggets, 9 o'clock NBA TV. Denver's favored by 5.5. I'd make it 2.5. And then Toronto, Utah, 9 o'clock. Utah's giving 4.5. I'd make it 1. My best bet in the NBA will be coming shortly. NHL, we're going to look back on the slate from the weekend and look ahead to the slate tonight. So Friday night, Devils over the Blues 4-2, Red Wings over the Blackhawks 2-1, Jets over the Golden Knights 4-0, Flames over the Coyotes 3-2, Canucks over the Avs 6-3, Ducks over the Leafs 2-1. Saturday, Hurricanes over the Islanders 3-2 in overtime on a goal by Vincent Trocheck. Caps over the Pens 5-2, Preds over the Stars 1-0, Kings over the Wild 7-3, Lightning over the Bruins 5-3, Devils over the Rangers 6-4, Panthers over the Habs 4-1, Flyers over the Sabres 3-1, Senators over the Sharks 2-1 in overtime on a goal by Chris Tierney, the former Shark. Oilers over the Blue Jackets 4-1. Sunday, Hurricanes over the Penguins 6-2, Red Wings over the Lightning 5-4 in a shootout, Golden Knights over the Flames 5-3, Blues over the Blackhawks 2-0, Wild over the Ducks 5-4 in overtime on a goal by Kevin Fiala. Blue Jackets over the Canucks 2-1 and Avs over the Sharks 4-3. Tonight's slate 7 o'clock the Capitals at the Sabres, 8 o'clock the Coyotes at the Jets, the Panthers at the Blues, 9 o'clock the Golden Knights at the Oilers, and 10:30 the Avalanche at the Kings. Before I get into my mock bracket, I want to discuss the Brooklyn Nets firing of head coach Kenny Atkinson. This was stunning to a lot of people. This was surprising to me at the timing, but it's something that I wouldn't have been that surprised about if this was at the end of the season. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant caused this firing, in my opinion. I think that they felt that he wasn't the right coach to lead them to a championship. That's probably what they told the owner, but in reality, I feel like that they just wanted a different coach and just wanted to make him the fall guy. It's unfair to Kenny Atkinson. I think he did a fine job with the Nets in his tenure. Made the playoffs last year with them. Took the Sixers to 5. Won a game 1 in in Philadelphia. Karis LeVert's turned into a good player. Jared Allen's turned into a solid player. Spencer Dinwiddie's turned into a good sixth man. He deserves credit for the development of those 3 players. So a team that is rebuilding, like the New York Knicks, should go out and give him a look. Or the Chicago Bulls. He'd be a great coach for them, too. If Charlotte decides to move on from James Borgos, they can look at him. I don't think the Kings will fire Luke Walton. I don't think the Suns will fire their coach, Monty Williams. He's actually, I think, done a nice job with them this year. I feel like they're playing better than I expected them to play. Taylor Jenkins isn't going anywhere. Wouldn't rule out Alvin Gentry getting let go in New Orleans, because if that team misses the playoffs, then I feel like that he's going to get let go, and then Zion's going to want to pick a coach, because Zion's a star, let's be honest. So I wouldn't put it past New Orleans if they fire their coach, so they could be in play for a coach. But I feel like that New Orleans wants to get like a championship coach, because they're going to be treated like a championship contender next year when Zion comes into his first full season. But teams like the New York Knicks and the Chicago Bulls and the Charlotte Hornets and maybe even the Atlanta Hawks should all take a look at Kenny Atkinson for their head coach openings. If the other 3 teams other than the Knicks indeed open, I do think that all 3 have a good chance of opening because they're all dysfunctional teams. And the Hawks were supposed to be real better than what they are. And maybe the Cavaliers can look at Kenny Atkinson if they decide to not remove the intern tag from Jerry Stackhouse. So they're in play too here for a new coach. So I think Kenny has options, and I think that Brooklyn could regret this one down the road, especially if they hire somebody that is like that player's coach that, to me, like is a product of a player. Like David Fizdale and Tyronn Lue, to me, are products of LeBron James, and it kind of showed. Although, to Fizdale's credit, he got the Grizzlies to the playoffs, but then he had issues with Marc Gasol, and that led to his firing. So he has a bad reputation of having poor relationships with players. And I think LeBron got Ty Lue fired. Or maybe it was Dan Gilbert, who knows. I initially thought it was LeBron and Kyrie. Maybe it was Kyrie that got him fired because Ty Lue was the front runner for that Lakers job. But I think they dodged a bullet there and picked the right guy, Frank Vogel. Look how the Lakers are doing. They're close to being the best record in the NBA. So I think they did the right decision there. So I think the Brooklyn Nets got to be careful with who they choose. Mark Jackson would be interesting, although he's more of a coach that's better off with rebuilding teams. Because look what he did with the Warriors. He helped develop Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green into the players they are today. And I mentioned how Atkinson developed those three players I exampled on the Nets. And Joe Harris, we got to give him his due, too. He's turned into a pretty good three-point shooter for Brooklyn. I heard a rumor about Jason Kidd, but I don't see how in the world that happens. Don't forget, he coached the Nets for 1 year. It was the year they had Garnett and Pierce with Joe Johnson, Darren Williams, and Brooke Lopez. And that team massively underachieved. But they made the playoffs anyway and won a round. But they still weren't the team many of them expected to be. A lot of people thought that was a championship contender, but they weren't. They just hired the wrong guy. And Jason Kidd did a nice job with the Bucks, kind of helped the development of Giannis Antetokounmpo, but I feel like he doesn't get that much credit there because Giannis really broke out under Bud, and so did Middleton. So Jason Kidd does get a lot out of teams. He did with the Bucks. I thought he overachieved with Milwaukee in his first couple of years there. Then they let go of him because they underachieved and expectations grew due to the presence of Giannis Antetokounmpo. So that's why he was let go. So should be interesting to see where Brooklyn goes with its new coach. It's going to be whoever Durant and Kyrie want to coach there. I don't think it's going to be a Sean Marks decision or the owner's decision. But if the owner did dictate the firing like some people are reporting, then Sean Marks is in trouble. And if Sean Marks is in trouble, that's unfortunate. I think he's one of the more underrated GMs in the NBA, let alone in sports. And he does not deserve to get fired, just like Kenny didn't deserve to get fired, in my opinion, either. All right, now we'll move on to my projected bracket. My first one in a while. Should be interesting to see how much this changes. I'm going to do another one on Wednesday and another one on Friday. And I'm going to have a special show over the weekend, probably Sunday night, to go over the bracket and who deserved to be in and who doesn't deserve to be in. Like, that happens every single year. So, without further ado, my mock bracket. Number 1 overall seed, the Midwest region, the Kansas Jayhawks. They have locked this up at this point. I'd be stunned if they're not the number 1 overall seed. The 1 seed in the South, the Baylor Bears. And 1 seed in the West, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And the 1 seed in the East, the Dayton Flyers. Yes, the Dayton Flyers. All right, my 2 seeds, Louisville in the Midwest, Creighton in the South, San Diego State in the West, Duke in the... Oh, wait. Duke's a 3 seed in the West. And the rest of the 3 seeds, Villanova in the East, Seton Hall in the Midwest, Maryland in the South. 4 seeds, East, it's Kentucky, West, Auburn, Midwest, Michigan State, South, LSU. 5 seeds, Penn State in the South, Virginia in the East, Oregon in the Midwest, Wisconsin in the West. 6 seeds, Iowa in the Midwest, Ohio in the East, or Ohio State, Houston in the South, Illinois in the West. 7 seeds, Michigan in the West, West Virginia in the South, Arizona in the East, Colorado in the Midwest. 8 seeds, Butler in the East, Florida in the South, Marquette in the West, BYU in the Midwest. 9 seeds, St. Mary's in the East, Oklahoma in the West, Wichita State in the South, and Providence in the Midwest. 10 seeds, Rutgers in the Midwest, Arizona State in the West, Xavier in the East, Utah State in the South. 11 seeds, East Tennessee State in the Midwest, UCLA in the East, USC in the West, Playing Game, Texas Tech, Stanford in the South. 12 seeds, play-in game, Tulsa, Indiana in the East. Liberty in the South, Belmont in the West, North Texas in the Midwest. 13 seeds. Akron in the East, Wright State in the South, New Mexico State in the Midwest, and Stephen F. Austin in the West. 14 seeds, Bradley in the South, Yale in the West, Vermont in the East, and Hofstra in the Midwest. 15 seeds, Eastern Washington in the West, Winthrop in the South, Colgate in the East, Little Rock in the West. 16 seeds, North Dakota State in the West, UC Irvine in the South. Play-in game, Siena Robert Morris in the East, and play-in game in the West, North Carolina A&T, and Prairie View A&M. So, that's my mock bracket. You could just figure out the matchups yourself if you were keeping track. I don't have time to go through all the matchups in my projected bracket. But some of my projected matchups in the same spots of the regions are the same as Joe Lenardi, so I guess I have that going for me. But it's going to be completely different on Selection Sunday, and it's going to be completely different next time I do this mock bracket on Wednesday. Next, I want to talk about the NASCAR race from the weekend. The winner of the race in Phoenix was Joey Logano. It's his second win of the season. His other win came in Las Vegas. Kevin Harvick came in second. Kyle Busch third. Kyle Larson fourth. Clint Bowyer fifth. Kurt Busch sixth. Chase Elliott seventh. Eric Almirola eighth. Cole Custer ninth. William Byron 10th. Other notable drivers, Brad Keselowski 11th. Jimmy Johnson 12th. Denny Hamlin 20th. That's a disappointing finish for him. Bubba Wallace 19th. Eric Jones 28th. Reed Sorensen 30th. Martin Truex 32nd. He's had a disappointing year so far in my mind. The most disappointing driver in NASCAR has certainly been Martin Truex Jr. He's not had a top 10 finish this season. And then Austin Dillon came in 36th. Ryan Blaney, who has been one of the best drivers of the season so far, came in 37th. That's a disappointing finish for him. All right, Logano, I thought, raced very well. I was very nervous that he wasn't going to win the race at one point because he had an issue in pit road where the tire wasn't coming on properly, and then he came right out, and he was in like 19th place after the pit road, and then he moved all the way up to 7th, and then there was another caution, and then he came out of the pit road in 3rd, and then they restarted a couple more times, and he didn't go back to pit road, and then he ultimately won the race. So good on Joey Logano. He's the points leader right now because of his 2 wins. So I think he is looking at a good season coming up. Now we'll talk Arnold Palmer Golf Invitational. That was an interesting tournament, to say the very least. The winner of this was Tyrrell Hatton with a -4, earning $1.7 million. Mark Leishman came in second with the -3, earning $1 million. Third place was Sungjae Im with a -2, earning $641.7 grand. He obviously won the tournament in the previous weekend. Fourth was Bryson DeChambeau with a -1, earning $455.7 grand. Danny Lee, 5th place with a earning of $330.7 grand, tied with a couple other guys, including Rory McIlroy. Among other notable golfers in a tie for 15th with a couple others, Scott Scheffler. Ricky Fowler was in a tie for 18th. Xavier Schauffele was tied for 24th with a bunch of other people. Zach Johnson was tied for 32nd with a few others. Brooks Koepka was tied for 47th in this tournament with 4 others. Obviously, Tiger Woods did not play, and he won't play next weekend either. I think he's just resting up for the Masters, and I don't blame him because I think he wants to obviously go out and try to repeat. Phil Mickelson missed the cut, as well as Justin Rhodes, Brock Stewart, Bubba Watson, and a bunch of other big-name golfers did as well, including Jason Day. And next weekend's tournament will be the Players' Championship, which obviously Tiger won't play in. And then we have the Valspar Championship, and then the Dell Technologies Match Play, and the Corrales Punta Cana Resort and Club Championship, the Valero Texas Open, and then the Masters. So it should be an interesting couple weeks leading up to the big one. Looking forward to it, obviously. Now we'll talk about American Idol from last night. I thought there are a lot of talented singers who auditioned. There were some interesting contestants that auditioned that did not get the golden ticket. The ones that stood out were the first contestant that went. His name was Danny Loretta, 24 years old, from Birmingham, Alabama. He was a dentist, sang the song Royals. He got through. There was a guy that was called Moo Dog from Hawaii who did not know the judges, who did not make it. And then there were a couple that I liked. Michaela Phillips, I thought she did a good job, 17 years old. Devin Alexander, 22-year-old from California, I thought he was very good. A girl named Emma Kate, 22 years old, very good. There was a kid named Chase Galico, 24 years old, I think did very good. There was a woman, she was called Tavia, 29 years old from California, sang I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. She did a nice job, I thought. I thought the best singer was 20-year-old Sophia Wackerman from Long Beach, California. She lost her mother due to cancer, which is unfortunate. But this girl could flat out sing. She sounds mature for her age. I consider her one of the front runners to win the entire thing. I thought she was outstanding. And then there's a girl, Olivia Zimes, 16 years old from California. I thought she was good. There was a girl, Marina Michelle, who was in a wheelchair, who cannot high five, unfortunately, due to the disability she has. She was a great singer. She got through. And then the last contestant who went, Rent Patrick, 26, of Cypress, Texas, I thought did very well. And he sang Dancing on My Own. And then there was a boy, Zach Dobbins, 18 years old from West Virginia, who got through. And fittingly, American Idol on the show plays John Denver's Country Roads when he gets his golden ticket. Just like the big Katy Perry fan from a couple episodes ago. It was the last episode, went and played California Girls or Teenage Green. I forget which one it was. Oh, and congratulations to Katy Perry, by the way. It was announced last night at the beginning of the American Idol show that her and her man are expecting. So that is awesome news for Katy Perry. And I think that was a neat way to announce her pregnancy. And then there was a story on the Today Show that she revealed her pregnancy to her grandmother right before she died, which is, I'm sure that meant a lot to Katy for letting her know before her passing. But that was pretty cool that she announced her pregnancy on Idol last night. So congratulations again to Katy Perry. Alrighty, best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. I won yesterday with the Joey Logano pick. That was my first winner of the season for NASCAR. And in terms of best bet, I'm going to take East Tennessee State minus the points against Wofford. I think that is a steal, getting the best team in that conference at a such discounted number against a team in Wofford that isn't as good as they were last year. So I'm going to lay the points here with East Tennessee State against Wofford. And then my NBA best bet is a little more difficult because there's a lot of injuries and stuff going on. But I'm going to take Charlotte getting the 5 at Atlanta. I think that number, I think they think Trae Young is worth a lot to the spread. I do too, but they are this bad with them. So give me Charlotte plus the 5. I think they have a chance to win outright, but I'm going to say Atlanta wins a close game, and Atlanta, that number is just way too big, in my opinion. That's it for the show today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping all the sports going on. May have a couple guests on tomorrow too, so we shall see. Hope you have a great day, everybody.